on applications of percents. So you guys did a great job on the rewind. With number 1, what is the difference between number 1 and then 2 and 3? 2 and 3 are a little bit different because they have what word in them? They have percent, and they also have the word is, which means that when you write them out, they're going to make a what? There's going to be an equal sign. So it's an equation, as opposed to number 1, which doesn't have the word is, so that makes it just an expression. Yeah, so typically with expressions, Alfonso, you're just going to end up doing what kind of math? Multiplication, whereas with an equation, you're probably going to end up doing division, okay? To convert a percent to a number, you move the decimal how many times? 2 to the left. To convert it back to a percent, you move it 2 to the, very good, nice job. Okay, all right, so we're going to talk about a couple different applications today. But before we do that, there's some vocab that we need to go through. So I have 3 words I want to talk about: commission, interest, and principal. Commission is the money paid to a person or a company for making a sale. So how many of you guys, do any of you guys have parents that work in like real estate or car sales? Yes, maybe? Okay, so what do they work in? Car sales? Okay, so when you go and you buy a car from somebody, and when you, or let's, how many of you guys have ever been to a clothing store? Yes? All right, there, let's, all right. And when you're at that clothing store, sometimes people come up to you and be like, hey, can I help you with anything? Right? You know what I'm talking about? And you're like, no, I'm fine. I'm just looking at jeans. Leave me alone. All right, why do they do that? Why do they come? Do they like think you're cool and they want to hang out? Maybe. Yes. Yes, 1. Okay. But why else do you think they do that? Madeline? They get paid more. Because then when you go to the register and they say, hey, did anybody help you out today? And I'd be like, yeah, Dejane helped me get jeans. That was so great of her, right? So then what do you think happens with Dejane's paycheck? She makes a little bit more money because whatever I buy, she gets commission on. So when you get somebody at the store trying to bother you, they're not trying to bother you, right? They're trying to help you, because then when you go to the register and you drop their name, that means they get paid a little bit of commission for whatever you bought. Or when you sell a car, whoever is the person that sold you that car gets paid a little bit of commission. So what that means is they have a base salary. So if you work at, what's a store that you guys shop at? What? PacSun. All right, Gucci. I don't know who. All right, good for you if you are, but we'll go with PacSun. All right. So let's say you're working at PacSun and your base salary is like $10 an hour or whatever it is. So you make $10 an hour for everything that you work. But you also make a little bit of commission, which means if you sell, what do they sell at PacSun? Jeans? Perfect. If you sell 100 pairs of jeans a month and your coworker is like super lazy and just Snapchats in the corner instead of bothering people asking if they need help with jeans, he doesn't sell any jeans that month, he's still going to get paid his $10 an hour, right? Because he's still at the store, he's like maybe doing his job. But if you hustle and you sell 100 pairs of jeans that month, you get paid your $10 an hour, but then you also get paid commission. So you make a little bit of money for all those jeans that you sold. So are you going to make more, or is your coworker going to make more? You are, because you hustled, right? Why do you think they do that? Your coworker just sat in the corner Snapchatting. He's not making more money. Why do you think companies do that? Well, how are you getting them more money? They have to pay you more, though. So why would a company want to do that? Because they get more in return. What do they get in return? More money because you helped sell more jeans. The whole goal is they want to sell as many jeans as possible, right? So commission is like a bonus for you, the employee, and a bonus for the company. Because at the end of the day, their bottom line, they want to sell more pants, right? And if you're helping them do that, they're okay paying you a little bit more money because you help them sell more jeans, all right? It's debatable on if it really helps, because sometimes I'm like, oh, just leave me alone. I'd rather shop alone. But I think at the end of the day, it probably helps. Okay, so that's what commission is. Interest is the amount of money charged for borrowing money, or the amount of money earned when saving or investing money. So has anybody heard of interest before? Yes. Yes? Can anybody tell me anything about interest? Jessica?
So interest is basically like a guarantee. Like if you get a loan and you have 5% interest each month.
Sure. Let's say month.
And like
Okay, yeah. All right. So when you take a loan, where do you go to get a loan? Okay. So you go to the bank, and let's say you need $1,000. The bank is going to say, okay, we'll give you $1,000, and you can pay us back over the course of, let's say, 10 months to make it easy. So every month you would pay back $100. But their interest rate is 5%. So that means, are you actually only paying back $100 a month? No? How much are you paying back? 105. If it's a 5% loan, you're going to pay 105 every month. So you're paying back more. So that seems unfair. They have to profit, right? Otherwise, the bank has no reason to give you a loan. The bank's not going to just give you, no offense to banks, but they're not in it for the goodness of their heart, right? They want to make a little bit of money. And the way that they do that is by giving interest or offering loans with interest. And you take that loan because at the end of the day, on day one of your loan, you need $1,000, right? So you're willing to say, okay, I'll pay you a little bit more back each month. Because right now, today, either like my rent is due or I have to, like my roof was damaged in Harvey and I need $1,000 today. So I'm gonna eat that cost, that interest cost, because I really need that $1,000 today. So I'm okay with paying a little bit more back. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about interest. And then principal is just the amount of money that you borrowed first. So that $1,000 that you borrowed first. Okay, principal is just your initial amount of money that you borrowed. Okay, so this is the commission problem. Ms. Barnes earns a base salary of $42,000 plus a 1.5% commission on sales. Her total sales in 1 year were $700,000. I'm assuming Ms. Barnes is like a realtor of some sort. She's probably not selling jeans at PacSun, because if you can sell $700,000 worth of jeans at PacSun, they should promote you to CEO. All right, so let's say Ms. Barnes is a real estate agent. Her total sales 1 year were $700,000. So I want to find her total pay for the year. So that means that she sold $700,000 worth of product. Is she going to get a check for $700,000? No. What is she going to get? 1.5% of that amount, whatever she sold, right? So she's going to get 1.5% of whatever she sold because that's her commission. So again, commission is the amount that you're making on that, right? Is 1.5% a lot? No, it's pretty small. But if she sells $700,000 worth of stuff, that's pretty good, right? Her base salary is $42,000. So what does that mean? That means no matter what, if she sells nothing and she sits in the real estate office on Snapchat all day, she still gets paid how much? $42,000. So she's still going to make that money, okay? So she's going to make that. And then she's going to make commission. So what do you think we have to do to figure out her total salary? Jesse? Okay. Good. Perfect. Yeah, so we're going to basically do base salary plus percent times commission. And that's going to give us her total salary. You guys might want to write this down. All right, that's going to give us her total salary. And why do we add them together? Because no matter what, she makes her base salary, and then her commission is whatever she makes in addition to that. So here is our formula, basically, for how we calculate commission. So what are we going to plug in for base salary? $42,000. All right, what's our percent? It's 1.5%. Do we leave it like that? Yes. Can we use a percent in a math problem? No, it's not a real number, right? It's a ratio. It's 1.5 out of 100. So how do I change that into a number we can use? 2 to the left, so it ends up actually being 0.015 times then what's our commission or what's our sales? I'm going to put sales. Good, so $700,000. And that's going to give us our total. Okay, so order of operations tells us where do we start? We start with, well, the parentheses, but in this case the parentheses just means Multiply. So we're going to do that multiplication first. So can somebody do 700,000 times 0.015 for me? 10,500 plus 42,000 because that's still her base salary. So then to figure out her total salary, what would it end up being? $52,500. Good. So her total salary at the end of the year is $52,500. So she made that. That's a lot of money. Yeah, that's a pretty decent salary. All right. So if she makes $42,000, she's already got a pretty decent base salary, but she's got an incentive to go out and sell as many houses as she can, because for every house she sells, this number goes up, which means this number also goes up, which means this number goes up. Okay? So if you work in a job where you make commission, your impetus is to sell as much as you can. Is that job for everybody? I would be terrible at that. I hate trying to sell stuff. I wasn't good at it as a brownie. I quit brownies because I didn't want to try to sell people cookies. Like, I wasn't good at it then. I'm still not good at it now, right? So I don't want a job that depends on commission. But some of you guys might love selling stuff. Some of you guys might be really good at talking people into buying things they don't need. If you are good at that, then you should go into something where you make commission. Keep in mind, though, this woman has a pretty good base salary. Usually in a job where you're making commission, your base salary is not quite as high as it would be otherwise because they want you to have a good incentive to sell. So like my brother works in finance, and so he gets a lot of his money based off commission. So his base salary is kind of low. I mean, low is very relative. He lives in Manhattan. It's not that low. But his base salary is relatively low because their company wants to encourage him to sell as much as he can. All right? So I couldn't take that job because I couldn't live on his base salary, and I also would not be good at selling. He's very good at it, so then he ends up making more money than me probably. All right. The other formula we're going to work with is the simple interest formula, which is I equals PRT. Interest, so we're looking for simple interest. That's I. P is our principal, which remember is the amount that you put in. So however much you need for a loan or whatever you put in. R is the interest rate as a decimal, so that's where your percent would go. And then T is the time in years. T is the time in years. So we have this formula, I equals PRT. You guys will get this on any test or quiz you take, so you don't need to memorize the formula. You just need to be able to plug it in. All right, so you just need to know what stands for what. So if I want to find the simple interest paid annually for 2 years on a $900 loan at 16% per year, where am I going to plug in the 2? What variable does that go? T, that's my time in years. All right, what's my $900? That's my principal, because that's how much my loan is to begin with. And what's my 16%? That's my R, but I need to do what with it? Write it as a decimal, so what decimal would that be? 0.16 or 0.16. Good. So I don't have an I, that's what I'm looking for. So I keep that as I equals. And then I plug in my principal, 900. And I plug in my rate, and you guys told me that's 0.16. And then I plug in my time, which is 2. All right? All of that is just what kind of math? Multiplication. There's no sign in there, so we assume it's multiplication. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that all in my calculator in one step, because I can just go left to right here. So I'm just going to do 900 times 0.16 times 2. And I end up with, David? Okay, yeah. Would it make a difference? Are you asking or telling me? What do you think? If you did not change it to a decimal, this would be what number? Well, if you didn't change it to a decimal, it would be, then you changed it. So you're saying, would it make a difference if you did not change this to 0.16 and left it at 16? That would be a way bigger number, right? Because if you leave that as 16, that's leaving it as a way bigger number. But remember, percent always is out of 100, so you have to either change it to a decimal or a fraction. And we change it to a decimal just because it's easier. All right, Jesse, what was my interest? Oh, I thought you gave me a number. I'm sorry. 280? 288. All right. So 288 is the interest paid. 288 is the interest paid. That means my loan was for how much? $900. And then I have to pay an additional how much? $288. So I'm going to end up actually paying $1188 total. Because 16% is a pretty high interest rate. Right? That's a pretty high interest rate. So by the end of 2 years, I will actually have paid back my initial loan of $900 and then also $288 in interest. And again, why do people do that? Because that seems like you would never want to do that. I don't want to pay you back way more than I did. So why would I take that loan out? Because on day one, I needed that $900, right? So I'm willing to do it. Now shop around. Don't go somewhere with 16% interest because that's crazy. All right, try to find a bank that has a lower interest rate. But on that day, you need $900. There's nothing you can do, right? So it's not a great situation, but it's the situation you're in. Okay, so I would like you guys to try. So these four, you're going to use that I equals PRT. These two at the bottom, I want you to do the commission on those. 6 is kind of a bonus. If you don't get to it, don't worry about it. I'm going to put the formula up here for you. Israel, I'm going to slide right behind you. All right, so how do you recognize a commission problem? What kind of words should you be looking for? Commission, that's a good one. All right, what other words? Base salary plus total salary, words like that, okay? All right, so in number 6 says Veronica works at Future Shop and earns $10 an hour plus 5% commission in sales. Last week she worked 40 hours and made $20.50 in sales. I don't see the word base salary in there at all. So how am I going to do that? I don't see base salary in there at all. Hold that thought, Jessica. I don't see base salary in there at all, but what do I know? She gets paid $10 an hour, okay. And she worked 40 hours. So could you figure out her base salary? Yes? How? 10 times 40. So in this problem, there's one more step because you've got to figure out her base. So it's still, total is still going to be base plus percent times sales. But the difference is we have to figure out her base, which is how much? 400. Because she worked how many hours? 40 hours, and for every hour she worked, she made $10. All right, what was her percentage? 5%, which is 0.05. Very good. I did not see many people make mistakes on that, which is awesome. Everyone was shifting their decimal over twice, which is really, really good. And then what was her sales? 2050 or 2050. All right, so it ended up, Jessica, being what? 502.5. All right. What do you do first, though, the multiplication or the addition? Multiplication. Good. So don't forget PEMDAS just because we are moving on from order of operations. Okay. All right. So let's talk about sales tax. What is sales tax? What is sales tax? Tax on a sale. Thank you, Emmanuel. What does that mean? When do you pay it? All the time, every time you go and buy something, right? So when you buy a pack of gum, if it says 25 cents, is it really only going to cost you 25 cents? No, because we have to pay sales tax. All right? So sales tax rate problems are exactly the same as percent problems that we've been working on so far. The only difference is at the end. What do you do with sales tax? Do you add it on or take it away? Add it on. You're paying more than what you thought you would have to pay, right? So you're going to add it on at the end of the day. So it's original cost plus sales tax is going to give you your total cost. So in this problem, the sales tax rate is 6.25%. If you buy a shirt that costs $30, how much would the total be for that shirt? So how are we going to figure that out? Multiply what? Times, no, 0.0625. Why? 6.25 is the percent, so we have to convert it to a decimal. So I'm going to do 30 times 0.0625. Can someone do that for me? What does that give me? Give me again? All right, 1.875. I'm going to round that to 1.88 because in sales tax, we're talking about what? Money. And if we're talking about money, how many places do we go to? 2 places. So it's 1.88. So that's my sales tax. Is that what I pay for the shirt? No. What do I do now to figure out what I pay for the shirt? Add it back on. So if my original shirt were $30 and my sales tax is $1.88, how much am I paying for that shirt? $31.88. All right, $31.88. Okay, so don't just go in the store with $30. You need $31.88. So sales tax is always going to be added on. Okay. Tip. I'm going to skip this one because we're running a little short on time. Tip is very similar to sales tax because tip is an additional cost. So once you figure out the tip, what do you do with it? Do you add it or subtract it? Add it. So when you go to a restaurant and your bill is $60, you should be giving a tip and your bill will actually end up being more or less? More. Don't take money away from a waiter or waitress. All right? This is my plug. Waiters and waitresses get paid so little money, so you should tip wherever you go. Factor that in. Be kind. Tip generously. All right. What's the difference then if it's a discount? So Yolanda goes shopping and she buys a pair of jeans that are on sale for 25% off. If the jeans were originally $50, what's the new cost? What's the difference going to be here? We're still going to multiply. We always multiply first, right? So we're still going to multiply first because we need to figure out that percent. But then, Yasmin, what are we going to do? Subtract. Because a discount is like what? Taking away. It's like you have a coupon or they're running a sale. So what's the multiplication I'm going to do? 50 times 0.25, which gives me 12.5 or 1250 because we're talking money. So 1250. And then what am I going to do with that? Okay, subtract it. When I do this, if I'm writing it out, I'm going to add 2 decimals to my 50, and I'm going to subtract 1250, which ends up giving me $37.50. So sales tax and tip, what do you do at the end? You multiply and then you, sales tax and tip, you're going to multiply and then add. Discount, you're going to multiply and then subtract. Either way, the first step is what? Multiply, but you've got to change your percent to a decimal. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys 6 minutes, and I would like you to do the first, do number 1 and number 4. 1 and 4. And you have 6 minutes.